Imagine this, you're scoring a game-winning touchdown, the stadium's roaring and the world is watching. But while you're creating a moment of glory, someone else is creating a nightmare. Breaking into your home, stealing your valuables, and violating your sense of safety. This isn't just about theft, it's about legal battles, financial losses, and the dark side of being a professional athlete. Athletes are just no longer safe. In the last year, a string of burglaries has rocked the homes of NFL players and other professional athletes. And these aren't just random crimes, they're calculated hits by organized crime rings that use advanced tactics to bypass security systems and target players when they're most vulnerable, during games. Today, we're not just breaking down the incidents, but uncovering the legal, financial, and business risks that are tied to this growing trend and what athletes are doing to fight back and prevent this from happening again and again. First on the deck is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. In October 2024, the homes of these Kansas City Chiefs stars were burglarized on consecutive days. The timing was precise. The players were engaged in games and away from their homes, leaving them extremely vulnerable. It wasn't just a coincidence, it was a calculated move. And take Joe Burrow as well. The Cincinnati Bengals quarterback suffered a similar fate during a Monday Night Football game.
Someone is trying to break into the house right now. My daughter is there. This is Joe Burrow's house.
Burrow was in Texas, leading his team to victory, but back in Anderson Township, Ohio, burglars were breaking into his home. What makes this case particularly concerning is that there were security personnel stationed outside. Yet, the criminals still managed to bypass these defenses, emphasizing the sophistication of these methods. And it's not just the players. Dak Prescott's fiancé, Sarah Jane Ramos, while it wasn't just a break-in, it's another example of how any individual associated with these players are being targeted right now. During the holiday season, Ramos had $40,000 worth of valuables stolen from her car while she was out shopping. It's not just the players who are at risk. Anyone connected, friends, family, to them could become a victim of any of these crimes. So these high-profile cases highlight how even million-dollar security setups or even locked cars are just not enough to stop these burglars who are watching and waiting for the perfect moment. So here's how the burglars target and execute break-ins on NFL players, and do not use this for yourself. First is the planning and surveillance. Burglars often monitor players' game schedules, which are publicly available through league websites, social media, or broadcasts. If a player has an away game, it's very easy for criminals to identify when the home will likely be vacant. Another is social media monitoring. I mean, these players and their families are constantly posting updates about their travels, game day events, or even luxury items. These posts unintentionally provide critical intel, such as when the home is unoccupied or what valuables might be inside, and even what the home looks like. Some groups are even using tools to identify social media posts made near a player's home, narrowing down locations to track their comings and goings. And monitoring is huge for them. Criminals may pose as service workers, delivery personnel, or even joggers to scout neighborhoods where players live. This allows them to observe security systems, check for guards or cameras, and even note the daily patterns in the household. It's freaking scary, man. They even take note of access points like doors, windows, or gates, and evaluate the effectiveness of security measures like cameras or motion detectors. And the timing is everything for these people. I mean, targeting during games and events is just perfect for them. Criminals plan break-ins during times where they know the player will be at a game, event, or even traveling. They often choose high-stakes games too, or nationally televised games when the players' locations are guaranteed and they're probably locked up for a much longer part of the day. And it's all coordinated. Some of these organized crime rings hit multiple homes in the same night, spreading the law enforcement resources thin and increasing their chances of success. And the sophistication today, I mean, I can't even take it. Wi-Fi jammers and signal blockers? Burglars are using these devices to disable smart home security systems that rely on Wi-Fi or cellular network. So you may think that these smart homes are much smarter and safer, but it's actually the opposite. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, lockpicking and forced entry is still happening. I mean, many homes, even luxurious ones, still rely on traditional locks. Burglars with specialized tools can pick the locks or use techniques like bumping to gain entry. And of course there's cameras. Even if they're not on Wi-Fi, it just really doesn't matter. I mean, they use masks, hats, or other coverings to obscure their faces from the cameras. Some even disable the security cameras physically by cutting wires or just blocking the physical lens with their hand. I mean, it's crazy. Their strategy is just insane. They're going after high-value items that are small and easy to transport, such as jewelry, watches, designer handbags, electronics. I mean, you name it. Cash and rare collectibles, like sports memorabilia that you'll just never get back, and you really do just feel for these players. Maybe it's first touchdown or their 500th touchdown. You know, they might not get that ball back. And what's craziest to me about this is how quick they do it. I mean, these criminals spend less than 10 to 15 minutes in each home, so they reduce the chance of being caught. Many of them even have getaway vehicles. Teams often use stolen or unregistered vehicles to avoid tracking back to them. You have no idea who it is. And plus, the stolen items are quickly sold or fenced through international black markets, making recovery just almost impossible, and luxury goods often fetch very high prices abroad. And I promise you, it's just not that easy to take these criminals on legally. They just exploit law enforcement challenges. There's jurisdictional issues. I mean, many of these groups operate internationally, so it makes it really difficult for local law enforcement to apprehend or prosecute them. And with multiple homes targeted in different areas, law enforcement agencies often struggle to coordinate responses, which gives the burglars a massive head start. So how and why do these methods even work? Well, predictability is one. I know we mentioned it. I mean, athletes' schedules and locations are very predictable due to the publicized games, events, and travel. Team social media are letting you know where Patrick Mahomes is pretty much every minute. And the sophistication is just another one. I mean, the criminals' use of advanced technology and organized planning just gives them an edge over traditional home security measures. And let's face it, the very luxurious lifestyles of these professional athletes make their homes especially attractive to these criminals. I mean, it's tens and tens, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars in these homes. So as you know, on this channel, we talk about the legal and business side, so let's dig into the legal side. I know I mentioned the jurisdiction issues, and that's really huge. I mean, many of these organized crimes being internationally just make it difficult for local law enforcement to pretty much pursue them at all. Now, the FBI is involved, but cross-border laws really do complicate this investigation, and you may not even be able to find them after they leave the States. Then there's also negligence liability. I mean, could they really sue the security companies that are hired by the players to protect their homes? I mean, if a system fails or a security personnel doesn't act effectively, could the companies be held liable? I mean, kind of, but proving negligence in cases involving such sophisticated criminals is far from straightforward. And many of you may be thinking, I mean, what about insurance, right? I mean, no, actually, athletes often underestimate the complexity of insuring high-value assets like memorabilia, especially their custom jewelry or limited edition collectibles. So without specific insurance riders for these items, they may not be able to recover their full value after a burglary. This leaves players at a significant financial disadvantage and even an emotional one. I mean, even if you get the money for your first touchdown ball, it's just not the same. It doesn't matter. So far I've shared only the negative, but let's talk about what's being done and how the NFL, players, and law enforcement are stepping up. First is league-wide alerts, and the NFL is urging players to avoid posting real-time travel updates on social media and to enhance home security. I mean, not sports, but you saw Zendaya had this issue and she's been pretty much off social media for some years now. It's all about being proactive. I mean, players like Matthew Stafford have partnered with law enforcement for vulnerability assessments, and Tua Tagovailoa has even hired armed security to protect his family. Whatever it takes, man. Of course, there is legal support. I mean, players' unions are providing guidance on how insurance claims and liability cases may go, and there's also a push for the league to fund additional security resources for their players. They got the money for it, but truly, this is not just a wake-up call for NFL players or athletes in general, because trust me, this isn't just an NFL problem, but it's a wake-up call for the general public. These athletes aren't just stars on the field, they're human beings with families, livelihoods, and legacies to protect. You know what? You don't need to show every moment of your day on social media. Stay private and stay safe. But if this story opened your eyes, don't let it stop here. Make sure you hit that like button and comment down below for the algorithm. Share this video to spread some awareness to maybe some NFL fans or even someone at risk if you know them. If you made it this far into the video, truly thank you so much. I appreciate your stay, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe for more sports law and sports business content that go way beyond the headlines. YouTube and I also have 2 more videos right here that you may enjoy, so I'll see you over there.